Welcome back, everyone, to another casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today, on the left side of the map, we're going to see Twilight play as the English, and on the right side of the map, we're going to be seeing Raindrop 43 play as the French. Both of these players are Conqueror 3, so I'm very excited to see how these players pilot these civs at this level. Before we get going, though, I wanted to take a moment to read our comment of the day, which comes from user Alejandro, who says, "Will you cast France versus England?" And yes, absolutely. I found this game for you right here. That is what we're going to do today. As we can see, the French player is immediately going for this early deer. The reason they usually do this is because the French uses so much food for those royal knights that it's actually just more advantageous to go out here on this deer, get survival instincts as soon as possible. We'll see, yes, they got survival instincts immediately. And over here on the English side, we can see that they are on sheep. Only one villager on gold. There goes that second villager gold right now. Now, the reason I am picking these French versus English games is because these two civs are newer player friendly. I assume that's why people want to watch them, is maybe potentially newer players want to hop in, try to check out some of the builds for the French English. I did main French for a really long time, but I have never really played much of the English civ except in teams. And so I really want to take some pointers from these players today at this higher level. As we can see, the first player already on 4 on gold. 4 villagers on gold already, which I assume they're just trying to get their age up as fast as possible. And then they're going to start mass producing royal knights. English player is going for some stone right off the bat, so I do think that means they're going to go for a second TC. This could be perfect because the French do get a boosted villager production rate. So it starts out at 15%. And as you age up, you get like 5% per age up. I think the feudal age is still 15%, but going into castle age, you get 20% and then 25% in Imperial. I am really curious if the French player today is going to try and answer the second TC with anything. The map is also Dry Arabia. I think I forgot to announce the map again in the intro of the video, but we are on Dry Arabia. English player just moving all their extra villagers over here to stone. Not gathering any wood yet, though. They are going to need that 400 wood for a second TC. Potentially whenever they get their food up to 400, maybe they're going to move some villagers off of food over here. We can see these gold villagers are moving to get that Abbey of Kings down. And I assume now that the Abbey of Kings is produced, we're going to see some switch over to wood production. There it is right there. They're moving over there to gather that wood for that second TC. And the French player just going crazy on gold right now. They do need a lot of gold for that age up and their royal knights. These villagers just working away very beautifully on these deer. They don't have an outpost yet. I think it is too early to have any military production down for the English player, but we do see that Abbey of Kings. So the Abbey of Kings is going to give the English player that free king unit that they can use to harass. This deer is literally a perfect place to harass for that king unit. That king unit would love to go right there and harass those villagers on deer. Now, what we normally see out of both of these civs is what we're seeing today. These are very standard openings. The Abbey of Kings is usually considered much better than Council Hall, and I very rarely see anybody go with the trade network over the School of Cavalry. School of Cavalry just saves you 150 wood. You don't need to place a stable down to start producing those knights. This scout making its way around the map, checking out, seeing what's going on. We do now have 8 villagers on wood for the English player. They are absolutely going for that second TC. No questions asked. And what they've done here, they've only put 2 villagers on the Abbey of Kings so that they can have 2 other villagers somewhere else, probably grabbing wood or stone for that second TC. This School of Cavalry is about to be finished, and I assume as soon as that drops, we are going to see a knight being produced, and immediately there's that first royal knight. So let's try and predict where we think this royal knight will go to harass. They might just use it to scout. Usually at this level, these players immediately use their royal knights to go harass. I would assume it's going to go to the gold. The Abbey of Kings doesn't really have any defensive capabilities, so I don't think that's going to give any issues to the Royal Knight at all. But what it is going to do is it's going to heal the units within its aura. So if that Royal Knight does come over here and try to harass over here, I think units are going to heal. Does it only heal military units? It might not heal. Oh, and there we go. A second TC is going down right on the gold to protect this gold line. So now there is going to be defensive capabilities on this gold line for the English player. It's going to be a lot more difficult for that French player to attack with the Royal Knight. And we do have to remember that the English player does have that 20% attack speed bonus within defensive buildings. The fire over their TC is the visual representation of that passive ability. Scout, just checking it out. Just watching everything be built over here in the English base. The first player not deciding to go harass with these knights just yet. Instead, deciding to leave them behind. This is interesting. Normally, I see these knights go out and harass immediately, and then just the French player will just throw a tower down, an outpost over that deer production there. Curious decision today. The king unit has arrived. I do love this free king unit. It just looks cool. It is a lot of fun. And it looks like this unit might go to harass. Yeah, it looks like it's on its way across the map to go potentially harass something. Let's go see what they harass. With Scout on its way back. Scout, I think, did spot all of these villagers on deer. This king unit does look like they are going to try and go get a villager kill. English player already working on getting these farms out as quickly as possible. They also do, of course, get that increased production boost from farming, which is really, really good. Also, their farms are 50% of the cost. These knights do spot this early king out very, very quickly and are now chasing it down. I don't think that Twilight has noticed that this king has been spotted. It is going to get attacked. The king is still making their way over to Raindrop's base, though. Not really worrying about these knights too much. The French player is just using these knights to defend from this early harassment here. While the English player is just macroing back at base. And oh my goodness, it looks like the French player is going for a fast castle. They are so close to castle age already. And there goes. I caught it right before the age up. The guild hall is going down. Guild hall is going to produce some free resources for our French player. So this guild hall, if it's set to... This king unit is now running in to attack these villagers on gold. It looks like he might get one. It's so close. One villager does fall in that attack, and the king unit immediately retreats. That was a very successful harassment by that king unit. And before I got rudely interrupted, what I was going to say is this guild hall, you can just set it on food. And then eventually it will get you the 2,400 food you need to go to Imperial. So you don't actually have to worry about saving up food as the French player, which is a huge advantage. You do still have to go gather all of that gold, though, and your Royal Knights also take a ton of gold to produce. So they are going to have to worry about that gold production still. But eventually, guild hall will just give them 2,400 food, which is always... just insanely good. This knight still chasing this king down, trying to kill it, but I think the king is going to make it back totally fine and healthy. Over here, the French player is going for that boar. They are putting a tower down, an outpost down to protect these villagers on board. Now, this is going to be even better food production than deer. Just absolutely incredible food production there. And it looks like both players are just macroing at the moment. We do see a second stable down for the French player. They are trying to produce twice as many knights as this English king unit is just moving around the map. And this king unit looks like they're going to spot the villagers on this outpost on the boar. I wonder if our English player is going to try to deny that. It looks like our English player is also going for castle age. They must have seen this guild hall from the French player and decided to move their units to start going for castle as well. This king unit doing a great job of just constantly scouting out this area of the map. This king unit looks like they've just been shift-clicked to just keep running around the map and find unit locations for the French player. But what's going to happen here is since this French player has started to wall this entire area off, this king might get caught. The French player has started building a wall over here, and a wolf is attacking this villager, but I don't think our French player has noticed just yet. The king does make it past this first early wall and is now in the French base, but I don't know if they're going to be able to escape. These villagers here might be able to finish this wall off before this king runs through this area. More villagers up here on deer. The French player is doing really, really well in gathering up all of the resources on the map. This king unit is going to spot this wall. There might be a little bit of a place to escape right at the back end. Oh, this villager got microed to go finish that part of the wall, and now the king cannot escape. So the king does have to make their way back through the entirety of the French base, and I don't know if this king is going to survive. And, oh my god, I missed the White Tower age up while I was following that king around. The king action. So the White Tower does work as a keep. That is going to be a really good defensive building there for the English player. The English player does look like they're building all of their buildings right next to each other for a really good defensive matrix. I don't know if this king unit is going to be able to make it out alive, unless there's just like one little hole there. There is! There was one little hole in the wall for the king unit to escape, so the king makes it out completely and totally fine. Did not get punished for getting trapped in those walls at all. And the French player now has this entire section of the map walled off very successfully to be able to collect that gold back there and deer safely. And all of this wood here as well. Well, this king is just constant vision. This is really good because as this king unit runs around, any buildings like this will just permanently register on the English player's map. That is a really good tactic. King unit stops moving though and is getting eaten up by a wolf and a knight. It does fall. That's unfortunate. And now the French player Raindrop is moving some knights over here to try and go harass. This wall is not finished. These knights are going to make it in pretty easily. Where are they going to go attack? I assume probably these farms. These farms are kind of the farthest possible away from the defenses here for the English. And I'm surprised we don't have many units for the English player out yet. We're about 11 minutes into the game. And oh no, these spears are running away right as the French Royal Knights have made it into the English base. These spears are going the wrong direction. So these Royal Knights are going to have pretty much just open range to attack here. If the French player decides to attack, this could be really devastating here for the English player. The English player just barely spots it and moves all the villagers into garrison in the defensive building. So those Royal Knights do have to retreat. They did get one villager though, and didn't lose a knight. So that was a pretty good attack there for the French player. And now this one Royal Knight is trying to burn down this gate, as now these spears are making their way back in to the English base to try and help defend. One spear here next to the villagers. Another English villager does fall now. The French is up to 4 villager kills. Pretty good raid here for the French player, who's been able to save most of their knights, it looks like. Did not lose, like, many units at all, if any at all. One knight might go down here to these spears. A couple knights might actually fall to these spears. It looks like our English player has done an incredible job of actually surrounding these knights and getting them to really low health. They might also be trapped. No, these walls are not finished. These knights are going to be able to escape very easily. This king might be able to catch up to that one knight on very low health. 4 HP there. Oh, and oh my goodness, Raindrop micros a knight to take the hit away from the king to save that 4 HP Royal Knight. What a play there. That was beautiful. Beautiful play there on Raindrop's part. Oh, but he didn't micro them all the way. Okay, so it's fine because the king unit attacked this knight that was low health, and they are up to veteran Royal Knights. Hell yeah. And a massive group of reinforcements of Royal Knights has joined the party, so this English player does pull their military back, make sure to not lose that fight. I do think they still probably could have won that fight, even with the reinforcements. I don't know, maybe the Royal Knights at veteran are tanky enough to take on those spears. These are veteran spears. I think those spears could have done a good job here, but the English player decides to move them off of that fight and bring them back. And oh my goodness, the French player is going for Imperial. We can see right there it went. They just got the guild hall resources, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's up to 20 now, so they just captured those guild hall resources, and they're putting the Red Palace down right here. The Red Palace does just work as a keep, and I love the Red Palace. It is a great age-up landmark. I love building the Red Palace. It's nice to just get a keep for free, especially as French. You can, well, not for free. You gotta pay the Imperial age-up, but you know what I mean. And the French player can just put their military production buildings around here, archery ranges, and stables, and get a 20% cost reduction on those units. So very good. The French player has captured all 3 sacred sites. So we will see if there's going to be a sacred site victory in this game. I assume not, because the English player can really easily just take one of these back. Very easily. This one single knight is going to get caught out and has to retreat immediately. Just has to get out of there. So close to death. Twilight is also working on that age up back here with the palace. And Raindrop is the first to Imperial, but as we can see here, Twilight is not far behind. And we are now seeing the overwhelming advantage of having 2 TC. Twilight is at 74 villagers and Raindrop is only at 56. But also, I think from the boosted food production of the deer and boar, we can see that Twilight has done a really good job, or I mean Raindrop, I'm sorry, has done a really good job of keeping up in resources even with less villagers. They have gone out onto the map and captured as much deer and boar as possible, and that has kept them relatively even in resources here. They're only 300 resources apart, and that's pretty impressive. Keeping up in resources, even though they're behind in villagers. I don't think that'll last long into the game, though, because those deer and boar are eventually just going to run out. 3 monks over here to start healing these units, and now it looks like a single unit went down there over the sacred site. I'm not sure what unit that was there for the English player, but they were able to shore up this sacred site on this left end, while the French player is now putting a keep down on the sacred site on the right end. It looks like the English player might be able to spot this, but they don't have any military here to fight this at all. Even if they see it, they don't have any military units close enough to get here before this keep goes down, in my opinion. So I think this keep is going to finish production for the French player and hold that sacred site very, very well. Beautiful red palace placement here over the gold and the sacred site as well. Just a couple spears fighting some boars, and they sent the villagers in to attack. And oh my goodness, the English player does spot this and actually moves all their knights over here. They were close enough to attack all these villagers. The keep does go down though, and all of these villagers can just garrison inside the keep immediately. That keep did finish there for that French player. And now, oh, the French player is also putting a keep over here as well. This one does get denied though. The military is here for the English player, so they're not going to be able to finish that keep in time. But actually, oh my goodness, the English military just ran right past this keep. Now this keep is going to go up as well. So there's a keep covering every single sacred site for the French player now. And these units just ran past all of those villagers and didn't stop that keep placement. I think they just got caught out there in an auto attack and cannot fight this currently. They are trying to move. I assume these horsemen are to go harass some villagers potentially. I'm not sure, but they absolutely did skip out on killing all those villagers. I think if they used all their military there to just attack those villagers that were on the keep, I think they could have denied that keep there. The French player does have that sacred site victory on the map. The English player just needs to neutralize one single sacred site, and they will take that sacred site victory off the map. And back here at the base, we can see English player is amassing units. They can recruit batches of units here at this palace, which is very, very useful. So, while the French player is macroing a huge defense here, it looks like the English player is macroing a huge army at the moment. So we are going to see how these individual plans work out. We're seeing the defensive strat versus the offensive strat. I'm curious what this English player is going to do with his military. They absolutely need some siege equipment here to burn down one of these keeps and neutralize the sacred site. Maybe they'll just try to neutralize the sacred site without even taking down the keep. Maybe they'll just fight under the keep, but they will lose way more units like that. So I assume we're going to see some siege units here soon. And now the French player deciding to attack with their knights. Looking for an opening. There is no good openings now because this entire section of the map has been walled off by the English player. And also the English player does have that 20% attack speed bonus, which is just kind of nutty. These units now moving out to protect this outpost placement, which will extend that attack speed bonus. These knights deciding to go in and fight, even though they are greatly outnumbered. Interesting decision. Looks like they just got a little harassment in there and then immediately pulled away. Sacred site clock is still just ticking down. I guess this is just going to turn into a battle of the sacred sites. I assumed the English player would be able to get out there and deny one of these sacred sites earlier, but now the French has just gone full defense mode. And the English player is 30 villagers ahead here, so this is going to be pretty brutal, especially in Imperial. They do have the enclosures upgrade, so if you are newer to the game, the enclosures upgrade is really, really good. Look at that. Beautiful. The enclosures adds gold production to your farms. The English farms make gold, but only in Imperial after you get that enclosures upgrade, and it is just so good. Sustain gold production for a really long time with farms, and it is just so good for English. And I'm kind of surprised we didn't get a late second TC out of the French player. I would have helped them with villager production. Oh my god, I'm talking out of my ass. There is a second TC down, so we do have 2 TCs down now, so raindrop should eventually catch up in villagers here, because of that boosted speed production from the French. Boosted villager production. And what is our English player doing here? Looks like they're building a mini wall of defenses here for their military. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to put their trebuchets inside this wall here. That's awesome. They're going to wall in their army to protect it. So as the French military attacks this little area here to attack the trebuchet, they're gonna have to go through the wall first, which is gonna buy the English military a ton of time to deal a lot of damage. This is pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Definitely not on the channel. And the horsemen are breaking away from the main English military here to go harass somewhere. Where are they gonna go harass at? Are they gonna try to go burn down this keep? I guess all of these horsemen are gonna try and burn down this keep, as over here in the center of the map, these trebuchets are working down this red palace. So now the English player has successfully split the French attention in between 2 different keeps here, and spending all these resources on the keeps might have been a poor decision, just because the English military has gotten to such a large degree. Maybe spending, because each keep is 900 resources, and that's 900 resources that could have been put into military units. And as we can see up at the top, the English player has just outnumbered the French militarily. Though that being said, they are catching up now in this attack, and oh my goodness, the French successfully defended that keep. That was a beautiful defense. They just barely had enough knights there to deal enough damage to the horsemen, and there were villagers there repairing in the back, and so they were able to save that keep. And I thought it was certainly just gonna die there. So the French military is actually ramping up quite a bit. As we can see, they are now putting a ton more resources into military production. They've jumped like 20 units in like the last minute. Just beautiful production now over here for the French player, and I assume that they are getting more of an economy online because of this second TC, the late second TC that I missed. And now we have cannons here for the French player trying to break down this wall. This wall will make it easier for this military, for the French player, to deal with the English military. The English military does have multiple outposts here that are boosting their attack speed in their radius. This cannon getting awfully close for comfort. If just 5 knights ran out here for the English player, I think they would be able to kill that cannon. The English player does spot this and runs their horsemen out, and all of the knights from the French player immediately run in to defend. I think all of these horsemen are just gonna die. They did try their best, and as we can see, beautiful micro from the French here, just surrounding those cannons with all of their knights and not letting those horsemen break through at all. And we are seeing a ton of spears just run over here for the English player. Not really sure what they're doing there. And look at this beautiful defensive wall. That's glorious. Just hiding their entire military inside this wall. A couple horsemen run out inexplicably and die. And now the French player is in full assault mode. The layered walls does delay the French military a lot. As we can see, their military has to break through all of these walls first, but now the walls have fallen, but they choose not to fight. They're backing up, actually, and not taking this fight. They have destroyed this outpost back here. Oh, did this one get destroyed too? How did that one get destroyed? Probably cannons. The cannons probably got that one. English player just microing their army around here, not wanting to take a full fight just yet. And now they are moving in for the attack. Each player microing their militaries back and forth for the optimal position. These trebuchets are just working on that red palace as all of these villagers are tied up, just protecting that red palace. And now we are getting a full fight here in the center. All of the knights and royal knights are going at it back and forth, but it looks like our English player does have some more siege equipment in the back here that is going to help them a lot. This gunpowder siege equipment is going to do a lot of work on damaging these knights, and it looks like they just have overpowered the French completely. All of these units are at elite now. Both players are in Imperial age, and now all those elite upgrades have come through. The English player now just attacking the red palace. The red palace falls, and now all of these villagers here are going to be in a lot of danger. These royal knights are just not holding up against the English knights, both at elite as well. The royal knights just kind of got chewed up a lot there. The English player, of course, also took very heavy losses, and now we can see both military and economies are tied up almost 1-to-1. We're at 38 to 47 military units and 111 to 113 villager count. So these units are almost dead even. And let's take a look at everybody's base. The French just expanding their farm economy as wide and far as they possibly can. Did I say the French? I meant to say the English. And now the French is just doing their best to heal up their army as the English player gets a keep down to protect these trebuchets. The French rolling out a bunch of more royal knights. Looks like the English player might be looking for a spot to an attack here. The English player is expanding these outpost placements to make sure, to guarantee that that 20% attack speed buff is applied to all of these units. Look at the range. Oh my god, and it dies immediately to the cannons. Just immediately that outpost is going to get taken out, but it's fine. They still have this outpost here. I wonder if the cannons can get close enough to take out this one as well. Gonna have to see. And the Sacred Site victory is only 6 minutes away. It is getting very, very close. Who is going to win this Battle of Sacred Sites? It feels like the game is literally dead even right now. I have no idea who has the advantage at the moment. Well, actually, if you look down at the left, you can see now our English player is 20,000 resources ahead. As this fight rages on, the English elite knights moving in to attack all the royal knights from the French, but these siege units in the back doing a lot of work. The royal knights run in to try and attack these siege units, and so many of them die. They all die. The siege units completely and totally survive. They're fine. The siege units live through all of that as the elite royal knights are just getting decimated by the English knights. Absolute madness here for the French player. Their army just got absolutely decimated here by the English player. And the French player calls it with the GG. Twilight won this one. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider leaving a like or even subscribing. And I hope to see each and every one of you in the next video. Bye.